After a recent tour of the SouthWorks facility in Ithaca, happily I bumped into Vanessa, one of the owners of Found in Ithaca. Eventually we ended up sitting down and talking about Found, about the background and her story with this, which I want to share with you now. So let's jump into that.
I think the space is so amazing that when people come in, they go, this cannot be it, because the parking is such a crazy situation that you're driving through this weird factory complex and then you walk into this fabulous space, and usually people go, oh my God, this is so cool. We sold it actually, but we had a mobile, like a huge mobile structure. 1970s Cornell architecture kid made this phenomenal piece right up at the front, or that we hung right up at the front. So we have some really cool pieces like the motorcycle that's hanging up now, but it's just quite elaborate. I think the space is kind of amazing. It's an appropriate space for what we do, because mostly everything is vintage antique. And SouthWorks was initially built, I think, in 1906, and then every building after that, I think, was built up until the 50s or the 60s. I don't think there are any buildings newer than that. I have to do my research, but
roughly.
So it's just kind of nice that we get this really magical space to complement what we do.
Nice. So can you tell us a little bit about the background? Like how did you get involved? How did this come to be? And maybe a little bit about who Vanessa is, who you are, and what you do.
Well, I moved up to Ithaca 5 years ago to work for a contractor, to work for a builder. I loved it. Everybody kind of thought that I was the owner of the business because I took a lot of ownership, but I'm not an architect or a contractor. So it really wasn't like a perfect fit for me. And I have always loved vintage and antique, always. I was at the Grain Bin in Trumansburg, which is a flea market put on by Sandy Kozarin, who was a former owner of Found. And my partner and I overheard her talking about how they wanted to sell the business. And the two of us were like, excuse me, pardon me. And then 6 months later, we had a deal. Yeah, so my partner and I bought the business. This is 2 years ago at this point. Yeah. We did something really neat. We did a buyout. So because the building that Found was in for 13 years at that point, was for sale, no bank would give me money to buy the business because it's a risk to buy a business that doesn't have a steady lease. Yes. That worked in our favor because we can negotiate a lower sale price, and we essentially said, hey guys, we want to buy this, we can't afford to buy it with bank money, you be our bank. The former owner Sandy and then Dan and Ellen Quest, who are wonderful antiquers, obviously wanted me to succeed because I owe them a bunch of money.
Figuratively invested.
Exactly. Yeah. And this is their business too. They stayed on as vendors, so they were able to train me. Cool. We could afford it because the business was paying them back. We have a low commission structure for our vendors, and we like that. We charge them rent. That's how it works. Really, gotcha. That's how we survive. That's essentially how we got started. We overheard the business was for sale. I've always wanted to own a business. Didn't look like I was going to own Rocco Design and Build, but I love those guys, and I love that experience. And it was probably the precursor experience I had before, like really taking ownership over something. Interestingly, so it took us 2 years to pay off the loan. The last month, March 1, was my 2-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow.
The 2-year anniversary, when we finally finished paying it off. It took a little bit longer than we expected because of the move, and the move was out of control. I'm probably recovered from the move, but it took 3 months.
So you'd like to stay here for a while, maybe?
I would like to stay here forever. I mean, breaking down all of these glass cases, all of the stuff, putting together a new POS system. Well, we had the existing POS system, but just setting it up, a new computer. Oh my God, it was a crazy amount of work. We didn't quite anticipate how overwhelming the move would be. I don't think you can. Yeah. But that was sort of like, this is Found 2.0. We took on 3 times the space we had before. It's also about 3 times the rent, which we think we can do. We're doing it because we're renting more space than we were. But we kept the rent pretty low for our vendors. What they're paying in rent is basically what we're paying in rent. Yeah. So we make our money with a very small commission. And then my partner and I sell items too. Yeah. That's kind of how this works.
Like if everyone is doing well, you're doing well.
Totally. The more they sell, the more money I make. So it's really important that my vendors are invested and they refresh. And most of them are pretty good at that. And I am a fabulous saleswoman, if I may say so. But I love it. It's like I actually don't really like the buying of furniture that much. I'd rather just sell it all day on behalf of my vendors, which is technically what I do for the most part. So good thing.
Yeah.
But
Well, then speaking about people coming in and experiencing this, what do you want people to know, who don't know about Found?
Well, the model is kind of interesting. We are a multi-dealer mall. So there are basically these antique malls that have multiple vendors per space. So every different space is like an individual vendor's boutique. I like to tell my vendors, imagine you have a store within a store, kind of like a mall. And then they pay me a small commission to be here every day and manage this store. But I think what's valuable for people coming in to know is that a multi-dealer shop really kind of allows for a super wide, diverse array of product. I mean, people ask me all the time, do you happen to have this tiny little, like, I have no idea, but we probably do.
Like come in, take a look, and come in, in a couple of weeks and it might be here.
Totally. So, it also means that things are constantly refreshed. And I think one of the best things about Found that I think is maybe not entirely repeated or common throughout most of the other antique malls around town is we have a high turnover rate. Somebody could bring in a piece of furniture and it'll sell 30 minutes later. I mean, you could bring in an item and it'll sell 2 years later, if it sells at all. So it's not a magic potion, but depending on the item and how well you price it, we have, and my vendors are constantly refreshing. So it's like every time you come in, it's fun, it's fresh, you're seeing something new. And it's all stuff that we find in the wild. It's all upcycled stuff.
Cool.
So so environmentally, it feels like it's a good place to be. Plus, the stuff that they made back in the day was so much nicer than the crap that they make now.
Yeah, especially you see some of the furniture, a lot of the wood products, but
it's not even that much cheaper. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it, but so okay, there's one I'd really like to ask. But around the Finger Lakes, it can be Ithaca, it could be somewhere else since we're in Ithaca right now. But where do you go if you're going out, and whether it's looking for furniture or clothes, or maybe to go out and grab a bite to eat? Is there something you are like, that's my go-to, my jam?
Well, to feed Found, 99% of our stuff comes from people's houses. They call us saying, hey, we need to sell whatever. So usually we'll go to other people's houses and make offers on things. Sometimes we'll do consignment as well. Me personally, the funny thing is that even though I'm in an antique store all day, I love to antique.
All right.
So
well, I would think that's a good thing.
Oh, fabulous. Well, Pastimes in the DeWitt Mall is fabulous. I will mention we have a sister store in the DeWitt Mall as well. It's called Art and Found.
Which I need to go down there. I just heard about this. Yeah, I just found out.
It's constantly morphing. We took the space for a few reasons. One, because it was so affordable and downtown is not affordable. So it was like, well, great. Let's have a footprint down there. My brother-in-law, my partner's brother, is managing that shop, and the idea is really to just give it to him and have him run an art store, which is the goal. We've never done that before, so it's basically a found store that we're hoping to turn into an art store, maybe with some found objects piled in. But we also partner with a woman named Rachel Fuhrman, who has creative reuse, not to be confused with reuse.
Yes.
But creative reuse accepts art donations. So it's a ton of used art supplies. We want to have some non-used art supplies. It's a changing store, but it's wonderful and is right next to Pastimes. So I'll go into Pastimes a lot. Mimi's Attic historically is a great place to go shopping. I don't think they're exclusively vintage or antique.
Yeah.
And then I personally love Home Green Home and Patroon on the Commons. Those are super fun places. If we're going to really go antiquing, not to take people out of Ithaca, but Syracuse Antiques Exchange is fabulous. Boswick's and Ontario Mall are fabulous. Earlier Rigo was great. We have a lot of the same vendors.
Yeah.
To grab a bite to eat, my gosh.
When you're not here.
When I'm not here. We have a few places that we absolutely adore. Bookton's Market, absolutely adore. Good sandwiches. Mainstay Market and Creekside Cafe in Trumansburg.
Okay.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Absolutely fabulous. The kind of fabulous where you wish there was something like that here in Ithaca.
Yeah.
Here in Ithaca, we love We love Hound and Mare. We'll go to Franco's quite a bit for pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's good pizza.
it's great pizza. Yeah, and I'm from New York City, so what I
All
say
right,
counts.
pride yourself
Yes,
on-
exactly. I think if I were to only choose one restaurant to ever go to for the rest of my life, it would be Moosewood over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you're really Ithaca now.
I mean, for 5 years now, but sure. Yeah. I've always loved Moosewood, but it's gotten a lot better ever since Danica Wilcox took over, the daughter of one of the former owners.
Okay.
I mean, it was always great, but I think she just took it to another level. The food is fabulous. The decor is great.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you for watching. Hopefully you will go and check out Found. I've been over there a few times myself outside of sitting down with Vanessa and talking. There is some really amazing stuff. Like she said, the turnover, the new stuff coming through there is really cool to see. Looking forward to what they do over time and the entire SouthWorks facility as well. If you have anyone that you think would be a good candidate, whether it's a business, a person, an organization, for a sit down and chat with Adam, me, of the Finger Lakes Effect, you can get in touch with me. Just head over to fingerlakeseffect.com, find the contact page, shoot over that form, and I'll be in touch. Thanks.